E3, Cannes, Comic-Con, Scathex. Every hobby has its own fair share of big events that highlight all the upcoming new releases in one convenient place. Now, board games have physical conventions, but they involve being inside a big, hot, sweaty warehouse for a weekend, and you might be quite content being sat at home with a nice cold glass of soda drink. And that's why Shut Up and Sit Down are proud to present Board Games Direct, a whistle-stop tour of everything new and exciting coming to the tabletop in 2025 and beyond. Now, this is the very first installment of the series, and it is focusing on thematic games. The games with little pieces on a board, the games that have you looking your friends directly in their beady eyes, the kinds of games that will tell you a story. Without further ado, let's board games.
First up in today's preview video, we have the Old King's Crown. This is a chunky game with a big box.
Yeah, this thing is huge, and it is also beautiful.
It is.
If you care to look at the board
Yes,
with
if you
your
care.
eyes. And all of these cards are individually illustrated as well.
Yeah.
They're lovely,
Tons
lovely,
of art in
lovely.
this one, tons.
Yeah, crazy amounts of art.
It's gorgeous.
It's a looker, and it's a big game, but it has a small game soul inside of it, trapped in this large body.
like a Russian doll, but nice.
In this game, the king is dead, and we're all different factions fighting for the throne after he's conked it. And how are we going to do that? We're going to do it in a kind of lane battler fashion.
Yes.
In the middle of the table here, you can see these different regions that we're going to be fighting over, and we're going to do it by playing cards into those regions, and then finding out who's got the stronger strength. I've got 10 strength.
I've got 9 strength,
I've got 10, you've got 9. I'm the winner.
but
But
maybe not.
there's a lot of extra stuff
Because
going
a
on.
lot of these cards have powers, and it means that they are also do things in addition to that.
Yes, absolutely. So we lied. There's a small game at the core of it, but there's this interesting sort of structure to the whole thing that we'll just kind of walk you through here to get an idea of the game. At the start of the game, you're going to be drawing your cards into your hand. You get to start with a 6-card hand limit, but it might get a little bit smaller. Then you're going to determine your turn order, and then you're going to go into springtime, where you'll bid on these special power cards. I'd like an Assassin's Guild, please.
That's annoying. I don't like the Assassin's Guild because it sounds like it's full of assassins that you're going to use to assassinate me.
Yep, that's what I'm going to do.
Correct.
The interesting thing about these cards is you do a little bid for them. So I might bid with this card here. Ba-bam!
I'm going to bid with... Oh, I only bid at a 3 and you bid at an
You're
8,
so
which means...
bad at this game.
I'm terrible.
That would mean that I would get first pick, but then interestingly, that card sockets into your player board like this, defending the card that you just bought for the market. Because later on, someone might try and steal it from you, and if they've got a higher number than your number, then that's not yours anymore. Everything's up for grabs.
So we're using our cards to bid for these special things as we go on, but then obviously we've got to go around this track of actions. So after we've done all that, we have stuff involving putting things on the board, right?
These are our heralds, and they're basically showing you which region you're kind of interested in.
Yes.
So I might place mine in the harvest field here, which suggests, hey, maybe I want this little fancy lozenge that I might get later on. You might pop it in the battlefield, and if someone else's is there, then you might get to steal some points away from them.
Absolutely.
So not only are you signaling your interest, you're also kind of putting your points on the line.
Yeah.
Interesting.
When it comes to the fighting, like we did earlier with our cards, you're going to be fighting in all of these different locations. You're going to be fighting in the top, the middle, and the bottom. But then you're going to get bonuses based on, if you win, you're going to get bonuses based on where your little main character piece was put. But as you say, if other people are in the same area, then you're going to get bonus points. It gets a little bit spicy.
It gets a little bit nasty. And then we'll move down into summer, where we're going to do all this placing out cards onto the board, and then we flip and reveal them and have these fights. But as Matt alluded to earlier, some of them might have special effects. So flanking cards, for example, you place them in a region, you think, oh, Tom's strong there, but then baba, I'm actually going to flank down to this region. Now I'm stronger there instead.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Got cards that move around. You've got cards that are especially good at beating other types of cards. A lot of the really powerful cards are also susceptible to being like basically murked by thieves.
Yeah, you got these deadly cards, I think is what you're referring to.
Yeah.
They stab people in the back, they're real nasty. And everyone only starts with just one of these cards, so working out exactly where it is a really interesting little bluffing game.
And that's why we say like it's kind of a small game energy in a way. In the
Yeah.
fact that you do have these different factions. There are 4 different factions in the game, and they do have at the end of their kind of mini tech trees, because there are some unlockable cards you can get. They do have like special powers that do things that the other factions don't. But apart from a bit of asymmetry, mostly you have a very similar set of cards, which means there's a knowable shape to things. You go, well, I know they've already played their card that would help defend them against a poisonous assassin, and now I'm going to use it, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Like, it is an asymmetric game technically, because all the factions have different sets of powers down here, and they have different cards in their little upgrade pool. But it starts off very knowable.
Yeah.
It kind of grows asymmetric.
It's a gentle
as the
asymmetry
game.
that gets more so as the game goes on.
And some of that asymmetry is realised in these little mini steps that I didn't really explain. You have your spring and your autumn actions, which are like fancy ways of just gently manipulating the stuff around this kind of core of placing down cards.
Yeah.
And this feeds into a really interesting sort of hand management game. You start with a hand of 6 cards, but then it's quite knowable what people have at any given time. You can kind of predict what they might draw because that deck isn't wildly asymmetric to begin with.
Yeah, but every time you run out of cards, you then have this little nodule that you turn around, which means that you start with a hand of 6 cards, but then every time you run out and need to draw up from your discard, it goes down to 5.
You've got a classic hand-sized nodule.
Hand-sized nodule, your hand size is getting smaller as the game goes on, particularly if you're burning through cards very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
or if you're getting a lot of your cards stabbed in the back by assassins.
there's a lot of different options. And crucially, another thing that's an interesting little rub in this is that you don't fight these 3 fights top to bottom.
No.
Like,
the person who's in last gets to choose what order they happen in. So they might have a spicy little card hiding in fight number 1 that they then move over to fight number 2, and suddenly everything's going a little bit wrong.
having that control about the order in which these fights are resolved is pretty huge in a game where a lot of the play comes from cards doing funny things and stopping that and doing that.
And messing with these kingdom cards at the top, these little strange flecks of asymmetry that you can add to your existing asymmetry. There's lots of room for strange combos, I think, that kind of really bust the game open in very interesting ways.
And finally, yeah, that's when you've got like, you know, each of the player boards has like these one-off or usually like single or small use powers that each faction has. That means you can just do something cool.
But only once.
or
Or maybe
a couple of
twice, or maybe
times.
three
Maybe
times.
three
Oh,
times.
go for it. Why not?
But yeah, it adds a nice shape to it again in the fact that like, you know, it looks like it's a game where it has like a lot of asymmetry, but actually it's gentle, but it's just spicy enough to keep you on the edge of your seats. And that is pretty much a little introduction to the old King's Crown.
Next up, we're looking at March of the Ants Evolved Edition. This is a reprint, a shinier version of an older game, which I think people just know as the Ant 4X game. Your ants, you're fighting over territory on a hex-based board, evolving your ant, getting your larvae, scrungling up some food.
Just doing some larvae, turning
doing
the
ant
larvae
stuff.
into ants, putting the ants out into this network of caves, and then the ants are constantly going to be dying. But that's fine, because you're getting new ants, fresh ants.
All the time.
Your
You're
ants here to
constantly
see you.
covered in ants. It's a good theme for a sort of like war gamey type thing, isn't it?
Honestly, it makes a lot of sense because you know, we've played this, and I said to Tom at the time, there's something about losing a bunch of spaceships on the edge of the galaxy that makes you kind of sad and feel like, oh, but I built those spaceships. Whereas when someone tells you, oh, hey, a bunch of your ants have died, you're like, of course they have.
Of course they have.
They're ants.
That's what they're for.
That's what they're doing.
So how does this game work? It is a sort of 4X-y game. It's a race to get as many points as you can across the 4 or 5 rounds of the game, depending if you're playing the standard version or the epic version. And over those rounds, you are going to be doing these little phases in order. We're mostly just going to talk about the worker phase, because it's most of what you do during the game. On your turn, you'll choose one of these different actions, and you'll do it.
Yeah, each of these actions that you take in the game always give every other player a little bonus thing that they get to do as well. So it keeps the game quite fast and engaged. Like, you know, maybe you get to whack one of your little larvae out of their chamber into the meadow somewhere, or maybe you just get an extra larvae for your brood chamber.
For your larvae chamber.
I guess it'd be a bit rude to be in someone's house and call it their brood chamber. But I might start doing that. Or, you know, people get to, like, you know, get a card. Just little things that happen all the time. So when it's not your turn,
You're still doing something.
Getting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can explore, you can add new hexes to the board, you can forage, which is get these cards, and you've got all kinds of exciting cards in here. You've got one-time things that are like events that will do something weird around the table. You've got these little secret blue goal cards. They're not secret, they're public, but they let you get another way of maybe scoring some points if you follow your own weird heart, or you can upgrade your ant.
I'm getting excited and I'm just jumping in ahead of this. So like you're talking and I'm busy just rearranging the table around you. So this is a neat thing. In this.
I think this is your favourite part of the game.
It's my favourite thing of the year, possibly. You know, like you get an ant, and you can do whatever you want with your ant. There's no laws. There probably aren't laws involving ants. Maybe there should be. But the way it works is you basically have these 3 sections of an ant: the bum, the middle bit, and the head.
The thorax, the head and the abdomen.
That's exactly what I said. And you can spend these cards to just put them on your ant, upgrading your ant into different, better ants.
And giving you special powers.
Yeah, so head's often good for fighting.
Yeah.
Body's good for everything.
I have a Dracula abdomen and a traitorous head.
I've been saying that for a long time.
If you make a full ant as well, you also have this nice sort of like exquisite corpse thing where you have all these different kind of bits of ant that you've glued together in a mismatched
also, like, Hulk. Get each set of these 3 cards that you get in a row is going to get you points, and you can add new heads on top. You lose the power underneath the original head. But there's bonuses for that. It's still a 4x Euro game. Don't get carried away with the excitement. It's still exciting in a kind of boring way, and I love that about ants generally.
And then the final action you can take that's important is you can march your ants around the board, so you can put them in different territories, maybe taking up some of these gathering spots that will get you resources at the end of the round. But if you ever have more ants than there are spots for them in a space, then at the end of the round there's going to be conflict in that space. That's what we're here for. It's fighting, because once you're done with all of your actions, once everyone has used up their little food supply taking these actions, you're going to have big fights in all of these territories. And the winner is going to get some points. You're going to get to take these spaces away from other people. And the great tunnel in the middle is going to give you a huge little point bonus. Everyone's attention is focused on that core middle space.
The great tunnel has kind of got a big like Dune Imperium energy.
Yeah, it does.
in a fun way. But yeah, these little spots are very neat. And the fact that whenever you reveal a new area in the tunnels, you're going to see what the resource nodes are available, and it's going to be, some are tastier than others, some areas are just great, and season control and keeping control of those is going to get you a really tasty bit of income.
Yeah. There's a few lovely little extra touches as well, like these centipedes that appear on the board. They're sort of a neutral faction that are really horrible to deal with. And they grow in strength over the course of the game using this little tracker. But the stronger they get, the more points they are for defeating them, which is really fun.
And also, I think, in terms of generally, like, we were talking earlier about losing all your spaceships, losing all your ants, it means that you have got options. Like, if you build a horrible, murderous ant that wants to just go around and kill things, then you can just go and fight centipedes a lot and not just bully the people around the table if you get the sense that maybe that's not the vibe.
Maybe that's not the vibe right now. There's some other stuff as well, like there's asymmetric ants. You can play as different player powers, and there's also a slightly more co-op mode, Rise of the Centipedes, where you team up and take down as many centipedes as possible. It's cool. Nifty little game. That's March of the Ants, Evolved Edition.
I'm evolving. I've got a big thorax.
Nice one.
This is Wroth. And it is a people on a map game that is absolutely vibrant as heck.
Look at this.
You can probably see.
It's so day-glow.
Do not adjust your televisions. This is happening for real. These colours are actually in your house. So this is a game where you're going to be deploying units onto a board. You're going to be moving them around. You're going to be killing other people's units. And then you're going to be vying for control and points. It's a game that you win when you get to 30 points.
There it is.
Still track of things.
Day-glow pink.
Start off with just a mere 1 point. So how on earth, Thomas, are we going to get that many points?
By rolling dice, I think.
Well, you're not entirely wrong. A turn, basically, starts off with this, with everybody rolling their all-seeing die.
They're special dice.
Special silver dice.
I got ×2.
That's great. It means that during your turn, as a free bonus action, you can just double the action you just did for free.
I like
Whereas
the sound of
I got
that.
a sniper that just lets me just remove 1 unit from anywhere on the board during my turn as a free action.
Who are you going to get rid of?
Probably that guy.
This guy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, probably. I can't do it now. I do it as a free action. As part
it's a
of my
free
turn.
action as part of his turn. Okay.
It's an addendum. It's a +1 to the party. And after that, at the start of the round, we're going to have this big collection of dice. We're going to roll them and we're going to draft them. And each of these dice results, there's 4 different actions you can have.
Yeah.
And they're going to be represented, hopefully, on these dice.
I can see him right there. I'd like to do this one.
Do that.
Does
So
that get me a gem?
When you spend that as part of your turn, we're going to take these one at a time until we've taken them all.
Yep.
And then as a little bonus, if there is one player who is in last place, like no tiesies, then they get a bonus extra action.
And then you spend them one at a time clockwise around the table style?
Absolutely standard stable tile doing actions. The actions you can do are like removing a unit from an area that you're in or an area that is adjacent. You can be deploying new units to the deployment zone, which is kind of around the edge of the board. There's a nice little touch here in the fact that you realise after you look at it for a few seconds that the deployment zone, your deployment zone, is here in front of where you are
Right.
on the table. But actually, it's all one zone.
It's all one zone, really.
It's all connected.
Yes, you deploy here, but you can go wherever you fancy.
You can go from here to here or here to there. You know,
Right.
basically, it's all one big beach that is connected to all of the nearby lands, which is neat. But it also means it's kind of a no man's land where you can't do any of the fighting or murdering that you would usually do in the other areas.
You'd usually do at the beach.
It's just like a statement of intent.
Sure.
You're like, I have this army, and at some point, I'm going to use one of the other dice to move them out of here into an area.
Into one of the other regions.
You've also got the ability with one of the dice results to simply deploy units straight from your collection to an area on the board where you already have them, reinforcing things live, hot dropping them in. And you might notice there's other unit types that are disguised as cubes. These dice are unique faction monsters, heroes, depends on the faction you've got.
I've got Grizzled and Trapper.
I've got Stoic, Miner, and Ram.
I believe it's pronounced Stoic.
Stoic? The doik. These cost you gems to deploy, and they all have special abilities. So you'll get these gems from taking dice, and then you're going to be able to spend them to get these dice on the board, which have a health value on the top of it. So this Stoic, this is worth has 4 health. So it still only counts as being a 1 value unit in fights, but it's
Someone can
really
chip away
hard
at
to
it
kill,
gradually. Yeah,
and they all
yeah.
have special abilities.
I've got these Trapper units that I can put on the board, and then I think that when you fight them or when you move into the region with them, they get revealed, and then a bad thing happens to you. This one's going to give me an energy. Actually, that's not really that bad
good
for
you,
you.
though.
It's just
It's
good.
for
It's
you.
just good for me.
Whereas meanwhile, the Ooglen people, Oogle Boogles, kind of orc type characters, they have abilities that can just turn up, and these things are horrible. You just don't want them in the same area as you. And these are great. They're nameless. They're just basically vampires. They turn up, they eat people, and then they regenerate their health by eating people.
I like that they're little tokens, they're little grabby hands.
They are. You can lean them on other things, and it looks like it's very oppressive. It's fun.
Oh, it's mean.
It is mean. But all of these factions, it's a 4-player game, but there's 5 factions. All the factions have different abilities in these units, and also there's a little bit of source in the fact that a lot of these units, particularly the ones that don't have as good powers, will get you points when they're on the board as well.
Okay, I see.
So there's a thing of you want to have control of these areas, which is going to get you points, because at the end of the round, you're going to get the rewards that are listed on these little randomized chits. So you're going to get, like, over here, 3 points.
3 whole points
for winning majority there. But also, if you're the only player with units in the place, you're going to get a flat 1 point. Anyway,
Okay.
which makes some of the areas, that are not as enticing a little bit juicy.
A little juicy.
And finally, on some of these tokens, you also have a bonus action that at the start of the next round, you're going to get like a free gem if you controlled it as well.
And then you can get more of your units on the board and you can do more area control.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on here, but it's actually relatively simple.
Yeah, and it's also incredibly neon.
It's very, very neon. Super
And also,
bright.
Matt, you look like the kind of guy who would like the undead or horses.
I do love the undead and or horses.
Wabambo!
Oh my.
There's 2 expansions that add the undead and horse people.
Are they the undead?
Yeah, I think so.
They look like elves, dude.
No, but look, they look like elves, and then they've got like a skull on them in the art. Look, put it on the table.
Okay,
Show the people at home.
Okay, spooky elves.
It's a spooky elf.
And paladins.
And paladins. Paladins and zombies.
Pals for life. This also has a mode which makes it cooperative, which doubles up as a solo. So it's already a fighty game, but if you want, you can play it in a much less aggressive way in any fashion that you'd like.
Chill style.
There are 2 other final bits of spice to this game. First of all, this all-seeing die that you roll and get a result that you can then use as a bonus action. You can use it for something else in your turn.
Ooh.
If you wish to,
Yes.
as an action, you can spend any 2 of your dice in your pool of actions, including the special one, to do an Exodus action that basically allows you to choose an area and move as many units as you like from that area into adjacent ones.
kablumbo.
So I could just go kablumbo.
Lovely.
And suddenly be everywhere all at once.
That's
It's a
quite
nice little,
scary.
nice thing to have if you think, oh, I rolled that and I don't really need that this turn.
okay.
For some reason, I can't think of a reason to murder 2 people this round. Who are you? And the second bit is that each of these factions, at the start of the game, you get 3 different cards, which basically are either like one-off powers that are really, really strong, or like, persistent background abilities that are just going to make your game a little stronger. And each player gets to choose one of these. So it's a little bit of asymmetry flair of being like, okay, like the orc people, for example, have the ability to just do horrible things to people adjacent to them with parasitic influence, which is an upgrade to one of their abilities that they have on a unit already.
Right.
Or, once in a game, choose a region you occupy, defeat all troops in it, including your own, then flip this card.
Holy moly.
Just murder.
So they get one of those. You just get one little
You
asymmetric
choose
power.
one of them, and then it
spicy.
means everyone knows what you've got.
Right.
Everyone knows you've either got a boosted power or a one-off. Why you mean that's crazy?
You're playing like a slightly different mutated version each
And also
time.
the way that these units all work is quite different as well. These elf characters, you get the better ones by having multiple of the base ones on the board. There's a sort of a flow to the way they all work. It's pretty light, but there's some lovely asymmetry here.
Lovely.
Brink. This is a big game made by IV Studios, the same people who made Moonrakers, Veiled Fate, a bunch of other stuff, and this is actually set in the Moonrakers universe, so it's a continuation of, I like Moonrakers, and now I'm going to get rid of this box because it's gigantic. And,
It's big.
We're going to knock it over.
It was like a real life spaceship was in the room with us right
I
there.
thought I was literally landing on the moon 1969, and I really got carried away here.
It was beautiful. It was quite something to witness.
So Tom, we got a lot going on here. We got some space map. We
got a big board.
We also have these unbelievably delicious looking cubes.
Yeah, we get told off a lot for saying that we want to eat board game components, but come on, these are like the most delicious components to date.
That's some Willy Wonka level. That's
some Willy Wonka stuff.
You'd
It's
be like,
so tempting.
Give me one of them, Willy. I don't care if it makes me float up into the ceiling and explode.
As soon as the camera stops rolling, I'm pouring the whole tray into my mouth.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah.
So what's going on over here?
This is Brink. It's a game of diplomacy, trade, and getting sweet, sweet points set in the Moonrakers universe. What you're doing is actually very straightforward. All you're doing on your turn is doing a sort of worker placement-y thing. You've got 3 different kinds of workers. Lil worker, medium worker, big worker. Oh, Matt, where are your workers? They're hidden in your tiny player tray.
What? That made it look like that was a purposeful thing.
Yeah,
Like,
I left that for you for a little surprise because I thought you'd enjoy taking them out.
Look at that. that is a fun little surprise. Now I must put the lid back on.
Yeah, it all goes away quite nicely. It all packs away in a sort of nice, compact little
Put the
storage
lid
form.
on the wrong way.
Oh, you silly
It's
goose.
not a square, it's an angle square.
It's got a little nub on
A
the top.
rhombus with a nub.
We're focusing on the nub way too much.
You don't get to say the words, it's a rhombus with a nub very often though, do you? So...
This game lets you. So what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to place one of your different workers on the board. Your little round worker will go inside of a hex and you'll gather the stuff on it. Your little too long, slightly little worker will go on the barrier between 2 hexes and get the benefits from its bordering ones. What about your triangle worker, Matt? That's right, it goes on the vertex and it gets the bonuses of all 3 of the little tiles. And of course, if you put your worker on the edge of the board, you're gonna uncover new tiles and grow the map. And add more new little spaces for people to do worker placements on. Pretty nifty, right?
That is nifty and simple.
What you are going to get when you go and visit these little worker placement spaces are these little cubes, the aforementioned cubes and their aforementioned trays, and they come in 2 varieties. Variety number 1 is influence, which is you take those cubes, I would take some little green cubes, and then you put them behind your little screen for use later on.
I'm going to have some of these, please. Can I have 2 purple ones?
You can have 2 purple ones. These are wild.
I'm going to put the 2 purple ones behind my screen.
Yeah, in the little purple socket.
Oh, purple's wild.
Purple's wild, so it doesn't have a little socket.
He's trying to trick me, but I know these things.
The other kind of thing you can get are favors, which instead of putting them in your little thing, you put them in front of your screen, and they can only be traded. So they're sort of a little wild resource, like the sort of commodities in TI.
I do enjoy the fact this is like your front yard, like garage sale. Like it's like, does anyone want to buy this chair?
Come on, please buy this chair.
It's a neat little thing.
My tiny green chair. The spaces will also let you do other things. They might let you hire these ambassadors, which will give you little special powers. They might let you take action cards, which are over there in their little tiny tray. And they'll give you one-off little powers that let you do something to surprise someone out of nowhere. You can also get those rider cards over there, which will give you the ability to manipulate the vote. And this is the most important part of the game, is that all that you're doing here, collecting these resources, going to these special places to get these bonuses, is all about this end of round vote.
This is a neat mechanic. So actually, I'm going to put one of these on the table just so people can get a good look at it.
Yeah.
Here. So this is like behind the scenes of my little player tray, knocking over things as I go. But basically, you've got like these little nifty like. It's like almost like a fake lid for your tray, so you can put your cubes in, they fall underneath, but then when you do the voting phase, you like pop them on top on the shelf to show people. You do the grand reveal. So now you can do a grand reveal for us.
Wait.
Oh, he's not ready for the.
I'm not ready for the grand reveal. I haven't decided who I'm voting for yet.
That's mean to say, and now the grand reveal, and just point at someone and then be like, what?
3, 2, 1, grand reveal. Ooh, oh, I voted for lots of things, and you
Yeah.
voted for none things.
Exactly.
We could have done this example better, but each of these different cubes on each thing is going to increase the sort of vote count for that faction. So, for example, we've both voted 1 for orange, so orange has got 2 votes this round. And those little rider cards that you put out, they might manipulate it, or your ambassadors might manipulate it, or all sorts of things might manipulate this vote. But basically, whichever 2 get the most votes in a round,
There's a couple of little slots up here.
we'll go bing bing like that.
Each orange location that you control
Yes.
with one of your little round things
Is then worth 3
worth 3
points.
points.
Every yellow one is worth 2 points. So there's this really interesting thing going on where you're placing out your workers onto the board to get the cubes, but you're kind of signaling who you might vote for later on because obviously you're making that pot sweeter for yourself.
Yeah, because the way you get the color cubes are by going to the planets. So you go to the planets that then if you can control the planets when the vote then... It's smart. you get what I mean, right?
get what
you
we mean.
You've got to get
Get
the
what
cubes,
we
so you
mean.
go there, but then obviously you're going to vote for them to get you points
Yeah.
because you went there.
Absolutely.
But then other people know that.
There's
It's smart.
There's a bunch of other cool stuff that I'm just going to sort of whip through now because I think it's all very fun, but I'm not going to get too deep into it. You can do things like upgrade your little ships over here, and you move your little tiny piece. I'll show this to the camera.
Yeah, go for it, please
You
do.
move your little piece up this little tech tree, and you grab upgrades along the way. Where do the upgrades go? They slot into your little ships like that.
Oh, that is fun.
Ta-da! My ship now has a big cargo bay.
got
That
a
means
noggin.
I can get more stuff, or you can pop little railguns on it, which will get you more points when that area scores. It's pretty nifty. On top of that, you also have these red cubes, which I think are really exciting.
Yeah.
They're minus votes. So you can use those to say, actually, I'm going to put a load of these on here and then deny everyone a lot of green power this round if you're smart. And finally, you have these big chunky objectives over here that when one player achieves, you
what's
get
this?
the little reward.
What's the ghost?
It's a little shield generator.
It looks like Slimer from the Ghostbusters.
It's like if Slimer got ideas. You'll put this in a spot and then it's going to generate you some like points and power in that area. Each of them has their own little gimmick. So if you get really big into blue, for example, you'll get a load of these negative votes and you can sort of really control the tempo there. If you go really deep into purple, the wild resource, you can discover a whole new system that you pop on the board and that's going to make purple more valuable to you. And these are public, so anyone can claim them at any
Oh, and if
time.
you get this one,
if
you
they're
get
smart.
you get basically Boba Fett's spaceship.
You get Boba Fett's big tall spaceship, and you put it on the board, and that area becomes real nasty to be in.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
A lot of cool stuff going on here, and I think the production is really sharp. There's lots of nice spot UV on the
The
board.
production is lovely. I mean, honestly, this whole system of having a little bin that you can put cubes into,
A little secret bin.
and then it means you can like lift it up, put things on top of it, but then still keep the rest of them hidden.
Yeah.
It's really like top of class when it comes to hiding things behind a screen.
Yeah, they're real good at it. Also, the first player marker is hilarious. Look at that. It's huge. Feels like you could stamp something with that.
And it's also it's got a finger on it, so you could stamp something with it. But also, it's got a hole in it, so you could put it on your finger and declare that you are the king of the. Don't do that, Thomas. It's rude. This is Children of the Colossi. Now, Colossi is obviously not the correct pronunciation of multiple Colossuses.
It's true.
It's Colossuses.
It's Colossuses.
Colossuses.
Look it up.
This is a chunky and colourful thing, as you can see on the board. And it's a fascinating game where you're going to be moving around these Colossi.
we should just say Colossi. You can't
it.
keep it up.
Colossi, and they're going to be moving around this board, and every time they move around, they're going to be dumping an egg. Basically, you don't control these. Each of these boards represents a different Colossi.
Let's remove the
right?
box.
So we have purple Colossi, green Colossi, and red Colossi.
Red's my favourite.
Red original flavour. And the way it works with these is you're going to be moving these characters up these tracks, effectively. These are your envoys. Now, you've also got envoys on the board, as you can see. So each player has their own set of envoys. They have some that move around on the map and basically count as action units that are going to be useful in battles.
Yes.
But then also you have this sort of like kind of worker placement track thing where you can move up these tracks, take an action, and then immediately get the option of doing another one up and taking an action with a connected route. And the higher you get up, basically, the more things that happen until eventually you're going to be able to
Reset.
reset and you're going to be able to bring them all back down to, I think it's called the balcony.
Yeah, this is the balcony. It's like the entrance,
Which
and
is
you
strange
sneak
because
your
it's
way
at the
up.
bottom of the Oh, but it's not. It's at the bottom of the top of a Colossi.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of a Colossi, which is off the ground quite high, hence the balcony still offers beautiful views.
These suckers got cities on the back of them.
Yeah, we should have led with that, maybe.
They're creatures with cities on the back of them. And yeah, you're all going to be moving these around the board, and you're all going to be moving your pieces around the board. But what's the point?
What's the point?
What's the point in any of this?
It's points.
Eggs.
Eggs. And eggs mean prizes.
Eggs are the points.
The eggs are the points. Yeah, it's kind of like this worker placement-y thing where you're going up this board, but then it's clashed with a sort of like dudes on a map area control kind of game. Because when these Colossi move, as you pointed out, they drop off these little eggs, and when you fill up...
I will be the egg man.
the egg sommelier.
Smellier eggs are available.
But once they fill up with all of these eggs, once you have a full little contingent of eggs, then a battle is going to happen in this location. And then you'll have a little fight. You'll play cards from your hand that will trigger certain abilities.
Yeah.
You'll have strength based on some of the previous eggs you'd hoovered up. And then whoever wins the battle gets their pick of which ones of these they want.
Yes.
Some of them will be worth points, some of them will give you abilities, but as soon as someone gets to 10 points, that's the end of the game.
Yeah.
It's a race to get the most eggs.
There's a fun thing here in the fact that obviously you can only ever have one Colossi in an area because even though this board is gigantic, and this is also a prototype, so it may not be as gigantic as it is. I don't know anything.
We've also got a small table that makes it look huge.
A dinky British table. But yes, no more than one Colossi can be at the same time, but when they move into an area and they add these eggs, you must fight immediately, and then you all get first pick, taking it in turns to take these eggs. The fun thing is the eggs then hatch at the end of the battle. And
They actually hatch at the start of the battle, so you do know what you're fighting for at the start. And then the first player, the person who wins, gets to take 2 by the end.
Woof.
So there is a little incentive. Everyone gets a little something.
Yeah.
If you're the first player, you're going to get loads.
But you're hatching these eggs and they're finding out what's in them. A fun little lick is there is a special type of egg, the black flare egg. And when you pull one of these from the bag, you immediately pull another one and put one out straight on the board, which means you have an idea of when battles are going to occur, but you might not.
You can see that one's brewing, but then it could be like, oh! Suddenly there's a million eggs and you're fighting over them.
Another lick of this I think is quite fun is if you win a fight, then you don't get to draw up your discard pile of cards in the way that other players do.
Yeah, and you only have a hand of 3, so it's very predictable. Like if you play out 2, you win 2 fights in a row, everyone knows what you have to play for the next one. But you can introduce a bit of variability because if you get to the top of each of these Colossi, you get these special banner cards that give you funky little combat abilities, but also if you get to a sort of medium level on all of them, you get extra cards to add to your hand that will do other funky things, which is nifty. It's a cool little touch.
An interesting little thing.
Yeah, cool. I want to check it out with my eyes and my hands.
Get your hands all up on it. Not like that, Tom.
I'm so sorry.
This is Gods and Mortals. Another prototype, but this one is looking quite exciting. It's Greek gods trying to get what they need from mortals.
Yeah.
That's what they were all about, really. It's like we give the mortals what they want, and in return, they worship us, and then we become more powerful because of that. It's a happy little cycle of love.
It's a great system.
Nothing could go wrong. There could be no tragedies.
This is the next game from the folks behind Guards of Atlantis. And yeah, just to make it doubly, triply clear, super prototypey here.
Yes,
that you can
very
see
early.
the inside of the box. Oh, that's pure cardboard.
That's cardboard.
That's just cardboard. And yes, you're right. In this game, you are gods playing a bit of a stock market game, almost, with the lives of the mortals down below. You have these 4 individual factions in the game, these humans bumbling around doing human stuff, and you are the gods extant from the board, looking over it from the top, trying to manipulate them to achieve your goals.
We must have like our Trojans and our, I've forgotten the other one.
You've got your Minoans and their Minotaur maze down there.
Yep.
You've got your Atlanteans, I think, and your Amazonians.
All right.
Maybe they're Athenians.
Athenians makes more sense.
That makes more sense. The game is played over 5 rounds, and each round is 2 phases. You have a divinity step, which I will explain second, not first. And then you have an action step where you mess around with stuff down here. I'll explain that a bit first. In your action step, you're going to play cards from your hand into these little slots on your player board. And when you play a card, you can activate either the area shown or the kind of people shown. So here, I could activate anyone that is in Troy, or I could use any red character on the board. And then these cards have all the different colours and all the different places represented. And where you socket it on your board determines what kind of action you take. So, for example, I could play this blue card in my recruit slot to exhaust a temple and spawn some little blue followers. And I'd probably put them more neatly if I was actually playing. But
I don't
just
know.
dump them in
Gods
there.
can be pretty fickle and mean. You can see these different like player sheets basically all allow you to be different gods. We got Poseidon, we got Ares. There's a whole bunch of these in the box, and they all
there's
have
tons.
unique powers.
Yeah, all of the top actions are the same. They let you move around the board, they let you recruit new people, fight people, and build temples. But the bottom ones are a little spicier, and they require sacrifices, these little things
Doesn't
here.
everything good?
Doesn't everything. And you
everything.
gather them from temples. And also, all the gods have their own special, unique powers as well. And look, oh my goodness, there's so many
Just
of them.
like in the real world, there's loads of Greek gods.
There's tons of Greek gods. So my special power, for example, as Ares is whenever I manage to completely wipe an area out, I will get a divinity, which is basically victory points. Now, why are you doing all of this? Well, at the start of each round, you're going to do this divinity phase up here, looking at our little sort of stock market ticker at the top of the board.
And this is the really spicy part of the pudding over
It's
here.
so spicy.
In the fact that, effectively, this is how much the people love you, how much adoration these different factions have for you. The crucial thing is, when they love you loads, when they get to a certain point, that's when you've got to cash it in.
Yes.
That's when you've got to go and get that people energy and be like, actually, I want that love. At which point, it's going to go back down to 0 again.
Yes.
So, like, as soon as you hit 5, at the end of that round, it has to go back down to 0 and you cash it out. Doing that's going to get you loads of points, but it then means that, like, you haven't got that. And you get points based on, like, multiplying the number you're on with the number of areas on the board that currently have that type of people in them.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you get some juicy points. But here's the rule that Tom told me about that's really juicy,
Spicy little rub.
Afterwards, you can then go back up on these tracks if you want. After you've knocked it down to 0, you can go back up. But the way you go back up is by paying a cost in your own points.
Yes.
So it's really speculating.
Absolutely. So, like, in order to get the favour in the first place, you have to spend points, try and get them as high as possible, and then cash in that big bonus. But are you going to do it? Is it worth your investment? Because to buy into a faction, you're also looking at their strength on the board. Right now, Red has 3 strength. And so if we were to cash out at 5, we'd get 15 points. But also buying into them costs 3 points. So are they going to grow in strength or are they going to diminish in strength? And I think that's where all the table talk comes in.
It looks like a really interesting system.
Yeah, really fascinating. I'm excited to check this one out when it's not a little wobbly board that's going to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Gods and Mortals. Really excited to check this one out. Welcome, Matthew, to Kinfire Council. It's a worker placement game, and it's the next game from the people who made Kinfire Chronicles Delve, Kinfire Chronicles Night's Fall. They're like dungeon crawly games, and this is a worker placement version.
But with beautiful art.
But with beautiful, well, all of them have beautiful art.
Yeah, but Incredible Dream particularly, I think a lot of their games, they're just gorgeous.
The production is crazy. Like, there's a little expansion, like, upgrade kit thing that you get, and it has this, like, the box, like, lifts out, and it has these little tuck boxes that almost feel like little jewellery boxes. It's bonkers.
Wow.
They put a lot of love into that stuff.
So what's going on here?
What is going on here? Matt, it's a worker placement game. But it's a worker placement game with a few weird twists, namely a cult. I threw the piece on the floor.
The cult on the floor. All right, I got the cult. Don't worry about it.
Okay,
so where's
great.
the cult going?
The cult is a third sort of player around the table, essentially, an imaginary player that can actually win the game sort of instead of the players. So you're trying to balance the game to get a bunch of points for yourself, but also stave off the cult from maybe winning the game.
Okay.
But you can side with the cult if you want. Maybe get more points.
All right. So it's a Eurogame with potential for you all being traitors?
It's like a Eurogame with a kind of semi-co-op element to it. It's odd. It's interesting. Before we start, I'll also mention that these are deluxe little pieces. The standard ones are cardboard, and also our little neoprene mat that is also a sort of paper mat in the regular game. So these are the deluxe components here, just to let you know that's what's going on. But these little acrylic pieces, those are part of the base game. The little nice chips in your bag,
chips in the bag.
they're in the base game as well.
Okay, cool. So the plastic chips are in the base game.
They are indeed.
Great. So how does a round work in this game?
It's like a day, Matt. It starts with the sun rising.
With breakfast, eggs.
With breakfast, eggs, and ham.
I missed my breakfast eggs today, but I had cheese ham croissant instead.
Well done.
So I'm fine.
What you do at the start of the day is you do laws.
Ah, nice.
You're going to draw 2 of these little laws from the deck.
Okay, right.
And then the speaker, whoever that is, will read out what they are.
Okay, am I the speaker?
Yeah, tell us about these laws.
All right, we've got city renovation.
Ooh.
The walls are crumbling down. We can't let our city fall apart. And if this is passed, we get to spend 2 money from the coffers. But if there's not enough, we cancel it. And the lead sponsor chooses one district and upgrades it. We can upgrade the city if we choose to.
I was going to say you don't know what any of that means, but you do know what
what that
upgrading a
means.
district means.
I get that. And then we got special funding. There's an election. If passed, then the lead sponsor keeps this card. Only a councillor with true dedication can be trusted to put these funds to good use. And at Sun's Rise each round, and I already know that's the start of the round because you explained the breakfast eggs mechanics. The card owner gains some money.
Exactly. So these are like the laws that you might see, in like games like TI, where you vote on stuff for the whole table.
Yeah.
You get these at the start of the round. You're going to vote on them at the end. So you know that these exist
so you know
at
what
the
the
start.
conversation's going to be later.
Exactly. So these will sit over here to be voted on a little bit later. And then the cult's going to do bad cult stuff.
All right.
So the way this works
beautiful cult
is you're going to pull tokens from the bag. I'm going to give you these tokens.
Okay, great.
You're not going to get the excitement of pulling them from the bag.
Oh, but I want the bag excitement.
You can pull them from the bag.
I'm taking the bag.
You pull them one at a time, so give us one little token.
Okay, one token. We have a 12.
That's a 12, which means we look here, and there's no card there, which means we put the
card goes here.
It's Callus as well. It's a big bug lizard thing, and he's really annoyed.
Honestly, quite mad. And then this token goes over here?
Well, it goes onto the board in one of these little worker
right.
placement spaces. So it sort of starts gumming up the works. Then we'll pull another token
ideal.
from the bag. Not ideal at all. You're quite right.
I've got a number 8.
Number 8. Well, when you already have a card in a space, you do not draw a new one. You just increase the threat of that card.
Oh.
Threat's bad.
Oh.
Threat's not good.
And is it that when we get the same amount of threat as the number on the card, things get triggered and it's bad? All right, cool.
You're damn right.
I'm damn right. And then this goes on a slot again?
Yep, it goes on whatever number it was.
8.
8. Oh no, the working in a nearby farm space has been all culted up.
I don't want to work in a nearby farm. I want
Grab
to
us
work in
one
a
more.
distant farm. Uh-oh. It's the same one again.
Oh, that's
Should
actually
we-
kind of fine. We just put
Yeah,
more
we just put
threat
another
onto
threat
there.
on.
But let's say it was a 1.
Yeah.
Let's pretend it was a 1.
Yeah.
And if it was a 1, we'd draw a new card and then we have a new threat, and then the thing would go on the space like we said before.
Got it.
I'll also just say, just because it's fun, there are 2 cultists in this bag that advance all the threats at the same time, which is real scary, because suddenly if you had no cards, you clean up all the threats, now you've got 3 threats all at once. Scary stuff.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
That's terrifying.
Once you're done with the cult phase, you then go into the day phase where you do worker placement. And you've got 2 different kinds of workers that you can place. Your fancy special hero, a seeker, for those who know the lore of these games, and your bog standard workers.
Okay.
And you're going to place these onto the board in any of these little spots that you can see over here. So for example, I might go to the tumbles over here and get some bits and bobs and bonuses, like getting some resources, getting some cards maybe, doing some fancy stuff. You may also, if you wish, place your seeker, which is a fancy worker that has their own little special ability. So you have a little fancy guy that does that. But also your seeker can go in some of the off-board locations. So they can go up here and mess with the cult, or they can go over here and build a little lighthouse, which we'll talk about later on.
What?
Once you've done with your worker placement and you've resolved the thing on the tile, you can then do an errand. There are 2 kinds of errands you can do. Errand number 1 is you can meet the needs of the city. So as you collect resources, I can collect these little bags over here, and then as an errand, I could say, I'm going to deliver one of these bags to the city, which would mean you put one of your little things here to say, I did that, and you bin off a little bag like that. Why is this important? Well, at the end of the round, if the city's needs are unmet,
My needs, please, you must meet my needs.
beautiful stuff, then you're going to cause more cult support. So if the city isn't kept in good nick, then more people are going to turn to the cult and things are going to go very wrong. The other kind of errand you can do is build the lighthouse over here. You can drop off little shipments of resources to build this lighthouse up to a higher level. Why is this important? Very similar reason to this over here. At the end of the round, everyone who contributes gets some points, but also where the marker is means the cult will get that many points if you don't build it that much. So if no one builds anything at all, then the cult gets 9 points. Whereas if you build it all the way to the top, the cult gets nil points, and everyone who built it gets 3 per thing they contributed, basically.
Woof, woof.
Right, that's madness. Because this is all important because if the cult gets too many points, at the end of the game, the cult might win instead of the players. You can also visit certain spaces that will let you build or renovate different parts of the board. So down here, you see this little city planning space.
Okay, yeah.
That lets you turn these districts into better versions of themselves, which give you a better bonus, but also you can put your little thing on there, and then whenever anyone visits that space, you get a little bit of kickback.
And it's a very pleasing cyan as well.
It is a very pleasing cyan.
Suddenly the board I can see is coming to life.
Wow, look at all that lovely colour.
Oh, and that's tic-tac-toe. I've won.
Oh, it's happened again. There's also a really fun little mechanic. Let me see if I can find this little piece.
What?
That's the city coffers. And this is where you pay your taxes.
Oh yeah, I saw about that on one of the cards which I read.
Very well done. These lower tiers of the city, so down here, you don't have to pay anything in taxes when you visit those spaces. But as you get higher up the board, in tier 2, you got to pay a little bit of taxes. Tier 3, you got to pay loads of taxes.
2 taxes just to do something.
There's a really, also each character, each player has their own little character that sits beside their board, and these are really weird. One of them, I think it's your one, can just spend taxes right out the bowl. So you could be going up to the tier 2 and you go, oh, I need to pay 1 in taxes. I'll just take that from the city coffers and just get rid of it. It fell on the floor.
You really did get rid of that one. It's gone forever.
All of these powers are very strange. There's one that makes the construction down the bottom of the board into something you can just do basically every single turn.
Right.
So they really do diversify the options that you have, because not only do you have a unique character, you also have a unique seeker that has their own little special power that gives them a little ability. So what combination you get is very interesting. And also, all these little workers, they start off the game kind of plain, but you can give them skills as well, so that each worker that you place has its own little ability on top of that. And I was initially like, oh, that seems really overwhelming and too much, but they're all pretty simple.
Okay, yeah, because there's really only a few types of these, and there are multiples. Yes, okay.
Exactly.
So you're not getting lost in a sea of like, what does that guy do?
Yeah.
It's like either one of these, or one of these.
And they're all pretty straightforward. And let me tell you about my favourite little final part of this game, which is not that crazy, but I just think it's really fun.
Okay.
When you do a worker placement, you can either do the thing on the space, or when you go to a space, you can arrest the cultist, which is in a neighbouring space, you can say, oi mate, you're nicked. You take him and you put him on your little board, and now you've got a little cultist.
You've got a prisoner.
What does that do? You can spend it. So you can go over here and you can turn in the cultist at the bounty shop for a bunch of money.
Oh.
Which is real nice.
It's not spending, it's turning them into the authorities.
Yeah, turning them into money.
Yeah, I mean, that's largely how the prison system works, so why not?
That is most of Kinfire Council. I've given a kind of shaky little overview there, but it's a really interesting game that has this sort of semi-co-op element to it.
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of the flavour of it. It's a semi-co-op kind of Euro game where you have like some asymmetrical player powers and the capacity to maybe have the cult overrunning the city and people having to just give up what they're doing and try and side with the cult.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
There's also an expansion. I did that beautifully, didn't I?
The
that was
Winds
wonderful.
of Change.
The Winds of Change. You know what this does? It turns it from a semi-co-op game into a co-op game.
A
full-op. When it's a fully co-op game, then you're just trying to all beat the cult collectively, which sounds very interesting. As this new resource called Favors that you can exchange, but it makes the cult more powerful. And it also adds a bunch of new tiles, so you can change out these for different areas and mix it up.
Smashing.
All right.
Neat. That's Kinfire Council.
That's Kinfire Council.
From Incredible Dream.
From Incredible Dream.
This is Ice, 2nd edition, and it's a prototype version of the game. Now, this is a game where you're going to be going and digging through ice. It's on the box. Oh my gosh, they said the name of the game. To find artifacts, which you're then going to send back home. And you're going to get powers for doing so, and you're going to get blue money.
Renown.
Oh, blue money.
It's points.
I don't know that much about this game, but I've told you most of the things that I do know. So Tom, why don't you explain the things I don't know?
Yeah, this is Ice 2nd edition. It's a game in which you, as you correctly identified, you're digging through some snow to get some buried treasures, which are then gonna fulfill these requests. People back home, they're like, I want a blue with 2 dots on it, stat! Yeah. And if you can fulfill lots of these, then you're going to get lots of points. You're maybe going to win the game. A lot of interesting stuff going on here. You, on your turn,
Let's
just
talk about the cold elephant in the room, Thomas.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
This board, it's kind of hard to see at this angle, but it's deep.
It's deep.
It's 3 tiers deep.
It's more than 3 tiers deep. There's actually another secret hidden tier under there. I'm not going to do that. It's quite scary.
So you can see at the edge here, there is like a lot of cardboard there. You go through actually unlocking more and more board.
Yeah, it's like a thick bit of card, and it's also magnetic. So I'm a bit scared, but you see I'm pulling here.
Oh, you're pulling, but it's not happening.
But it's not happening. Ooh, that's very scary, isn't it?
We just caused like I want to say an ice
quake.
An ice quake, yeah.
An avalanche, if you will. Yeah, you're trying to physically drill down through this board, which is kind of cool, and it has some interesting gameplay implications. On your turn, you're going to spend 1 or 2 effort points.
you start with, in a 2-player game, you start with 6. I've set us up for a more-player game. We're kind of going to fudge it here. But you can spend some points to do anything you want on this little list of actions that you got available on this handy little player aid. You could do things like building a little camp that you can teleport to, and you can zip around the board. You could call these little cute, chubby little archaeologists to one of those camps, which you can then use to go on your little expeditions. You can study the artifacts that you're on, taking these little tokens that will maybe get you some endgame points, or they can be used for a secret second purpose later on.
Yes.
Or you can do the action that everyone's talking about, is drilling down through the ice. Yeah, dig, excavate. You do this simple little calculation where you work out how expensive it is to dig, and then you spend that much effort. So the further down you go, the harder it is to dig. If there's someone's house on top of it, it's kind of harder to dig underneath that.
It's harder to dig if there's someone's house there, because they might be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's harder to dig if the tile is covered by another tile, because of course you've got to dig through 2 little layers. And it's also harder to dig if it's a mountain, which all kind of makes some sense.
Yes.
But then you discount the cost of your dig by the number of pieces you use to dig with. So I've got 3 pieces here. So normally this would cost me 3, but it costs me none effort. Zero effort to dig.
None.
A goose egg.
A goose egg. You got an egg. You got an egg.
When you dig, you take that tiles and then you add it into your little hold of different things over here. This one is a special prismatic tile, which means it can go in any slot that I want. I'm going to put it in my blue splot for a reason that I'll talk about in just a second. Then, when you finish your digging, you'll see I've got 3 little pieces, and there's 3 tiles under where I just dug. And I have to evenly distribute those pieces among these spaces. So you dig with your team, but then your team kind of gets split up after that, and then you gotta chase them and gather them up again to go and do some more digging. But there's lots of ways you can mitigate this. Like the top layer of tiles give you lots of these special powers that might let you kind of regroup a little easier after doing.
So you can initially you can dig down through these early layers a little easier, but when it gets deeper,
you're splitting them up between more and more places.
Going to get a little lost.
Yeah.
There's some fun theming there. I can feel like I'm lost in a cave.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's my buddy? Oh no,
Kevin!
Kevin!
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
The other thing you can do that I think is very cool is that these artifacts or these relics that you're digging up will also give you little special powers. Depending on the colour of them you dig, if you flip your little player aid, you've got a whole different menu of options that you can choose from. So the red ones, for example, let you just blow up little bits of territory, or the yellow ones let you gather more archaeologists as you dig. But at the end of the round, you're going to ship off these artifacts to fill these little orders to get you endgame points. So you're not getting their powers anymore. So maybe you might want to hold on to them so that you can still use the powers, or maybe you want to ship them while you've got the opportunity, because you can only ship a limited number each round. So it's like, do I ship them now and lose the tempo, or do I lose out on points because I haven't shipped enough things by the end of the game? This is also wrinkled by the fact that each one of your explorers has their own little special power that lets them do different things. There's one that I did not set up, but they've got little ice hooks that mean they can kind of negate the effects of falling down these caves. I've got a thing where I can pay less effort to dig. I'm just really good at digging. You've got a thing that means
I'm good at like bringing lots of people along. Once per turn I can move my little lad with a cape. And 3 other people can follow them.
Yeah, you're super mobile and moving around the map. You can teleport with all your little guys with you. You can get to those camps and be like, come with me, get in the truck. We're going to Ice Town. I think that's basically most of the game. At the end, you're going to score extra points for collecting certain sets. You've got a little logbook that gives you different variations each round, so there's a little event that you have to deal with. It's got this very interesting tempo consideration where you might leap over to try and take someone else's tile out from under them if you can see they're gunning for a certain objective, but you're kind of restricted by this action point system. There's a lot of cool stuff. And it has this lovely little triple layer board.
Triple layer board, well, 3, 4 layer.
4 layer board.
I mean, honestly, as far as we know, these layers could go down for infinity.
Go down for infinity.
They could go down for infinity.
Yeah, it's actually a 19 layer board. It goes underneath the table.
It breaks reality.
Madness. All in this box.
Good job on break reality. How do they do it? Shuggy.
SHUG.
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 This is a game called SHUG.
It's a fun word to say, isn't it?
It is. SHUG.
It's very fun to say.
And you can see it's on the box. It just says it. SHUG.
Real small,
it's kind of
at the
small
top style.
At the top and the bottom. This is a very alien-looking folklore style thing.
The rulebook refers to this game as a childhood dream rescued from the attic and brought to life, and I think the game reflects that as well in a lot of ways.
Right. So it's like something you played when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
not.
and weird and kind of surreal.
Yeah.
So this is a game in which you, one of these little people over here, not this person, this is the king. We'll get to him later.
He's gnarly. I like him.
He's gnarly. You are trying to, in this game, find SHUG and bring him to the pub, which is the space in the middle of the table.
Okay.
Or you kill the king, which is this guy over here. Those are your two ways.
Two ways to win the
SHUG.
game is either find SHUG and bring him to the pub, or kill the king.
Yes, which is the same in any game.
Yeah.
In Ark Nova, you can kill the king.
Yeah, if you kill the king, then you win.
Then you win.
It's just really hard to find the king.
It's such a big deck of cards.
He's hiding with the pandas, I'm sure of it.
On your turn, it's very simple. All you do is you take the dice and you roll them. 6.
He's a good dice.
Move that many spaces. They're so big, aren't they?
They're really
and they're
big.
really fun to
Very
roll.
good.
This is a prototype, I should say, as
Yes.
well. This is a prototype. So any of these weird little smudges and gnarls, that could be intentional. It also could be prototype style. Who knows? But then once you've got your dice, you then move your piece that many
so
spaces.
I would move...
Who do you want to move?
8 spaces.
8 space? 8? Yeah, 8.
Yeah,
thought
I rolled them again.
You got a second roll?
I want to be the cheeky little devil.
You could be the
Because
cheeky,
the cheeky little devil is very cute.
Please move 8 spaces.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Was that legal?
No, it's so illegal. But that's okay, don't
it's
worry.
because of the grid, I wasn't sure. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, now
Legal?
let's say you went, yeah, you were following the path, but let's say you strayed off the path.
What, I'm
Then
allowed to do that?
You are. And at the end of your turn, if you stray off the path, you'll fight a monster. Here's a monster. It's Matilda of the Night.
That's one of my least favourite types of Matilda.
So the fights in this game are really bizarre. You can either fight them with all of the items that you will gather. She's got a strength of 29. So if you had, a million of these cruel whips, then you might have enough strength to defeat old Matilda.
Yeah.
Or you can choose to befriend the monster.
Yeah.
Up here you can see, what does Matilda need you to do to befriend her?
It says run, hide, you have a 30-second head start, survive 1 minute without being found.
Yeah, and you just have to do that. Like, not in the game, like outside of the game.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I have to now just run around the house and hide.
Yeah. Get to it.
And
He was very close to falling down the stairs then. I thought that would have been a really bad way to end the previews. I'm not going to find you. You can come back.
yes! Didn't find me, which means Matilda's now my friend.
You would take Matilda, you'd pop her in front of you, now
Thank you
you've
very
got a
much.
pal. And some of them have little effects when you befriend
Most
them.
preview demos wouldn't do that, would they? Let's be real.
No, we're going the extra mile on this
We
one.
do get the extra mile by standing up and sometimes falling downstairs a bit.
Sometimes sitting down and shutting up. There's a whole load of different monsters.
So these just have like slightly fascinating, demented things. Name 9 iconic sandwiches in 1 minute.
Yep, there's a lot of sandwich stuff in this game. There's also the sandwich boy. One player must make you a sandwich or give you their companions. If you don't like it, they must eat it. If caught snacking, they die.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I like the rules of that.
Yeah.
Like, they then have to eat the sandwich.
If
and
you
they're
make a
seen
grotty
eating
sandwich.
something else in between,
Then they'll die in the
they
game.
die.
Brutal.
Board games, huh?
Yeah, it's truly bizarre.
Yeah.
So you're wandering around this map, you're trying to fight monsters to get power, to collect up stuff, but most importantly, you're trying to visit these little runestone spaces, because on the runestones, you might have a chance, if you flip over this, they'll have a symbol on the back. Or who did you find, Matt? You found Mole Cutpurse.
Oh.
I keep throwing things off the table in these previews.
Mole
and then Mole
Cutpurse.
Cutpurse would come and live with you. But the one you're trying to find is, of course, our pal SHUG. If you find SHUG and you bring him to the pub, then you get him. But you could find, like, the king, and then the king would teleport to your space and you would have a fight with him. Or you could find Death, where you flip a coin, and if you flip Death, then you lose.
I didn't flip death. I didn't lose.
Well done, everyone.
Quite extreme, that.
It's quite
Just
extreme.
lose.
No, you don't lose. You just die.
Oh, that's all right then.
I said that and
what
immediately
happens when
thought.
you die?
When you die, you go back to the
Tom.
village and you get rid of all of your stuff. And that might happen if you ever get in the space with the king, who is this little fella who's going to start wandering around the map, having fights with you. And this is a prototype, but one of my favourite things in when I was learning this game is this delightful part of the rules that really shows it's a prototype in the showdown section here, where it says the king is level, and then it's Tipex to say 100, which I find delightful.
Because I guess obviously at some point they've made it lower, and they were
Yeah,
like,
maybe
"It's
the
not
king
enough."
was a little underpowered.
Maybe it was level 10, and they were like, "No, it needs to be a lot more."
The king should be real scary. So that's a lot of SHUG. You wander around the map, you pick up little companions that make you better at befriending or fighting companions. You gather weird treasures that make your friends do strange things.
Gigantic booty knight.
I believe that's the sexy armor, which I can find on one of these cards in just a second.
Finally, sexy armor that gives all knights giant booties.
Whoa. That's SHUG, I think. That sort of
SHUG.
explains it, doesn't it, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's SHUG.
Thanks for watching.
This is We All Take from the River, a game in which we all take from the river. Take whatever you want from the river, just like in real life. Shopping trolleys, other people shopping, fish,
All things you'd find in rivers.
river ham. There's a whole variety of things.
There's a
you can
whole
find.
ecosystem
Whole
under the
ecosystem.
waves.
So this is a game about the river ecosystem, but about the real one, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like, you've got this river,
Here it is.
there's things in the river, but when you take
Like
things
fish.
out of the river, it's not there anymore, but you might also put other things back in. And you've got different types of like identities, roles in this, which means you might be like an ecologist who wants to like look after the fish.
Yes.
You might be like someone who wants to make loads of factories and they're not so bothered about
No.
the fish, etc.
They really want to take from the river, and they don't want to give back.
So it's like semi-cooperative. I think in the manual
Yeah.
it describes itself as being cooperative.
Co-opetitive. Yeah, it's a strange. It is a competitive game, but some of your goals might align with each other.
Yeah.
It's odd. It's an odd game.
Yeah.
The way that it works is each round we're gonna have the river gently meandering its way downstream. It'll start at a certain level. So right now the river might be 5
power.
5 power, 5 tall, and that will be affected by the season. So it might be raining, which means that the river's going to get even wetter, or it might be sunny, which means it's a little bit drier. And as it goes down the river, it will gain strength. So it's going to go from 6 to 7 to 8, but then it sort of gets slowed down again by the gravel that's down here, which will kind of slow it. So it picks up, but it also slows down if nobody interferes with it.
Yeah.
But people are going to interfere
Yeah,
with
because
it.
you've already kind of briefly told me a little bit about this game.
We're all going to take from the river, Matt.
We're all going to take from the river, but also people are going to take the gravel.
People are going to take the gravel.
That's money. So
what you're going to do is going to be dependent on your goal, as you alluded to earlier. So you've got all these different goals in the game, and they're all going to have 2 sort of like objectives on them. So I'm going to be the altruist, which means I want every other player to achieve their goal. It's very cooperative. But I also want to make sure that no pollution is on the map. And that might be in direct contrast to the urbanist who wants to build the city and stockpile 15 fish. Here's the city. Someone
beautiful.
might try and build it out, and it's going to spew pollution into the river.
yeah, because pollution
gonna be
told me that goes
irritating.
on and then it moves down the river.
Yeah, it travels with the river. So
And it
every
means
time the
that
river moves,
these fish slots, which would naturally populate with fish in an ideal scenario, will not because they are all kludged up
Yeah.
with sludge.
with sludge, with muck. And there's a really interesting thing that happens where stuff that you're doing further up the river is going to affect stuff that happens downstream. Like building a big levee might protect your little area from maybe getting flooded, because if the river is higher than your area, then
yeah.
flood time,
Yeah.
and all your stuff just gets washed away.
Drove
and
my
that's
Chevy
very
to
sad.
the levee and the levee was functional, which meant I didn't get
Flooded. Right. But if you put a levee somewhere, you might cause flooding later
You're
down the
causing
river.
the water to go further down the river style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, also that I've noticed on this, that on the board, you've got like higher numbers up here, which means like the hills, etc., are more resistant to flooding, whereas
Yes.
when it gets down to the bottom, these are not resistant to flooding at all.
No.
But they are because they have gravel.
But what if they don't have gravel?
What if
because
someone's-
you built a excavator down there? Because that's what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, moving our
every
little,
time the river moves down to an area, the little camper vans either side are going to activate, and they can do things like just harvest the resources, but they can also build things that will make you better at harvesting resources, like sawmills that cut down
please.
trees,
Chop, chop.
excavators that dig up gravel, farms that produce fish but also produce pollution. All of this stuff you build, it's probably going to make some pollution.
A couple of things I want to ask you about in this game.
Yeah, of course.
So first of all, I can see these little tokens.
Nets.
What are nets?
You can build a little net alongside the river, and then as the river moves, you catch something that is on its way down, which early on might be a fish, might be some wood, might be some gravel. Later on, might be pollution, which is both a good and a bad thing, right? Like, you might be the person who's trying to fish all the pollution out the river, which means that you're actually doing a great job catching it. Or you might be the person who wants to build something and you can't really build anything out of pollution.
Okay.
Doesn't really work like that.
So nets catch stuff, but you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other thing I want to ask about is tell us about some of the different roles you can be.
You can be the urbanist, build the city, but also stockpile fish. You could be the mogul, which is stockpile 15 fish, but also stockpile more gold than any other player, because you can convert resources into gold. And there's also this interesting phase that happens once the river does its course. You do this 10 times throughout the whole game. But every time the river moves down, you also have this policy phase where players can vote on like game-defining policies, and one of them lets you turn pollution into money.
Into money?
Into money.
Pollution?
But also, you might vote on building the city. That's also part of the game. Or you might vote on protecting a certain piece of land so no one can build on it. It's interesting. It kind of models this little ecosystem, and everyone has a different relationship to it.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's a really
strange.
interesting thing.
Yeah.
That was we all take from the river.
And we're going to give back to it with pollution.
Ahoy there! And expansions. This is us looking at some of the little expansions you can get for already existing game about pirates.
Ahoy!
A game of seafaring and smuggling.
For 2 to 4 players.
Yes.
Takes 45 to 75 minutes if the box is to be trusted.
Believed. I mean, I never believe boxes, really.
They're all frauds.
Cardboard liars.
I think this one takes about 10 minutes.
Don't be silly, Tom. We played it and it takes longer than that.
Longer. The best way to explain this one, I think, is to compare it to Root, if folks might know of a little game called Root that's out there. You have different asymmetric factions vying for control of a board. This one is the sea, made up of all these little sea tiles that you can place how you fancy. And in the base game, you always have these 2 main factions fighting against each other, the sharks and the mollusks, the sort of navy blue and yellow pieces. You can see these on the board. Are they the sharks and the mollusks? No! But we'll get back to that in a second. But most of the game has you pottering around, trying to control these different bits of map in order to get points out of
So
them.
you've got these little sparkly blue dies, and obviously they kind of go up throughout the game, becoming worth more value. But the idea is you want to control those squares, those sea tiles, and then you get points
With
at
your
the end
little
of the round.
ships. Yeah, exactly. And if you get all the points, then you win the game.
Hey Tom, what's your favourite type of sea tile?
The ones that has the fog
My
on
favourite
them.
type of sea tile is a sea turtile.
Oh, God. The base game also has another kind of role that isn't one of these big area control factions. You have smugglers that go between the islands doing a little pick up and deliver game, and the pick up and deliver game that they're playing is what makes these different territories increase in their points values.
You've got to have smugglings to make economies go up.
That's exactly. It's how it is in the real world.
I mean,
it's how it is in Ahoy.
That's kind of explaining a lot of England. So anyway, let's just keep going.
So that's the base game of Ahoy. You've got smugglers doing smuggling while area control factions do area control stuff. Now, we got 2 new expansions for Ahoy. We've got Rivals and Renegades, and this is exposing all of the clutter that I've sort of tried to hide behind the boxes. And Fang and Fortune.
Fang and Fortune.
These have both been released at the same time, and they both change the game in some kind of interesting ways. So Rivals and Renegades changes out those sharks and mollusks for turtles and orcas. If you're playing as the orcas, or whales.
Yeah.
Are they whales or orcas? Are whales and orcas the same thing?
It's an awkward
question.
Oh, I'm really bad today.
No, these aren't good.
I'm really a bad person today. So yeah, these are fascinating. These whales, they're basically they're kind of like the whale police, the sea police. They patrol around and they can basically leave these little whale pods around and drop off more and more whales.
Yeah,
as
this
they go
thing
around the board.
like moves around the board, just like going like, pew, pew, just like putting these little pockets of troops down. It's very funky. It's very cool. But they're the kind of like big, brutish control faction that you swap out the sharks for in base game Ahoy.
The turtles, though, are just silly.
The turtles are silly.
You had a very silly time when I had a go at this with you, of you just basically dropping turtles off on catapults and then using catapults to fire them onto islands.
Yeah, basically. Each round you have a little dice and you roll it, and that's how far your catapults can fire this round.
Yeah.
And you can launch your little comrades onto islands from a distance.
Yeah, and
it's very
it's
sweet.
the only way you can move them around is via catapults. And they're just really cute little turtles.
They are real cute.
And obviously it was great because you kept leaving them in the sea for the character that I was playing when I was playing.
Who were you playing as,
Which
Matt?
is in this other expansion in Fang. Unfortunately, I was playing as the sea monster.
The sea monster, the beastie, the Leviathan.
I loved being the sea monster. You just move around and eat people.
Yeah, you're sort of playing a weird game of Snake, trying not to eat your own tail, but munching up little other pieces that are stray on the board.
It was horrible.
Yeah,
It
there
was so mean.
Yeah, like I think it's got a funny thing of the fact you can't go back into spaces where you already have a tail, but at the same time, like fighting your tail is not too tough. But when you start to fight the head, it gets
head
a
was
little
really
bit trickier.
scary,
I was
yeah.
quite a frightening character in the sea.
Yeah.
and I ate a lot of tortoises.
Over the course of the game, you're going to be improving your speed and your fangs by eating certain things, so you become deadlier and deadlier as the game goes on. So you might want to early on just go plop, plop.
Yeah, I did. I got big fangs.
You did.
And then everyone was like, "Sorry, what? How many damage?
Excuse me?
4? What?
My ship is ruined. Why
Yeah.
would you do this?
Yeah, I was doing all sorts of great things.
I also think it's really funny that you swap out the kind of peaceful, passive smuggler role, just popping around islands doing deliveries,
For a sea monster.
with a giant snake that eats people.
It's beautiful. You have multiple heads. The whole world is your oyster. And speaking of which, the final folks, they're kind of like sea urchins,
They're
right?
a little clammy. They're the coral cap pirates.
They're a little clammy, huh? Aren't we all?
Aren't we all? They're interesting. So they're a more straightforward replacement for the smuggler role. Essentially, you have your main big ship, here it is, looking corally, and when you go to islands, you can outfit frigates. So this is a little palm tree island. I can outfit a palm tree frigate if there's a little crew matching that kind in the thing.
Yeah.
I then take that and I put it on my little frigate board, and now you've got a frigate with a captain that can do jobs. And if you
Wow.
go and visit these different islands, then you can do those jobs and you get some extra points. So you basically create this little fleet of individual smugglers kind of pottering around doing your dirty work for you.
That's
It's
nice.
cool.
That's
It's
nice.
fun.
Yeah, it's fun how like all of these different things kind of use this base system. These cards, these customer cards, were for the smuggler in the base game.
Yeah.
But these new factions, the Serpent, I think I was just eating them.
You were just eating the crew directly off of the
But I had
island.
to go to islands where they were.
Yeah.
I had to be like, I've heard there's a really tasty man on that island over there.
There's a delicious barrel over
Yeah.
there.
Oh, but that barrel's got eyes and tentacles.
Scary.
Texture. Texture.
Yeah, that's the expansions for Ahoy. You've got replacement for the base game factions, and you've got replacements for the smugglers to get a little freaky and creepy with it. I even saw someone, I don't even know if it's officially supported, I saw someone doing like an 8-player game of Ahoy with all of them.
I mean, I don't know
he's-
if it's
you're-
officially supported, but you can do anything.
You can do whatever you
In
want.
your house, if it's legal,
You can put all of this into root if you fancy.
you could.
You're a sicko for doing
Yeah,
that.
there's something wrong with you, but
freak.
I appreciate you.
I like that. Also, finally, should we point out these little tiny coins?
Yeah, these luxury coins.
These are luxury coins, but aren't they nice?
They are up there in my personal top 5 types of luxury coins in board games.
They're like cartoon coins.
They are.
They don't look real.
They are
But are they
delightful.
real? Let's find out.
yeah, it's real.
They're delicious. Tangy.
This tastes of Tom.
Farms Race.
Whoa.
It's a parody of Euro-style games. It looks a lot like Catan,
does.
but it's about farm animals blatting each other.
Whoa. This escalated really quickly.
It's that kind of game. It's for 2 to 5 players.
It does look quite Catan-y, but immediately I can see no dice numbers, which means no dice. I mean, also, come
some-
on, I'm
there's a
saying
few.
looks a bit Catan-y because it has hexagons. Like, what am I? Like,
What board games don't?
what am I? Your mother? Like, this isn't. We're board games people.
It is a little bit Catan-like.
Okay.
You're getting resources by rolling these dice, and you'll get all of the standard board game resources, Matt. Wheat, wood, brick, plutonium, and weapons.
Yeah, I did wonder if there
All
would be
the mod
guns
cons.
because I did say there weren't really dice, and yet there are actually dice here that just appear to have pictures of guns on them.
Yeah, or people. Me and you are farm animals, genetically mutated farm animals, vying for control of this big area of land. We're in a farms race with each other.
Okay.
What farm animal are you, Matt?
Pig.
No, you're a cow.
Oh yeah, I'm a cow.
I'm the pig.
I'm a cow.
Although we can swap as easy as this.
Whoa. I'm pig now.
But what kind of pig are you?
Bad pig by the looks of it. Real
Yeah.
bad pig.
You got a mutation as well.
I'm a military pig
You're an
with a
ins-
mutation. I'm an insectoid.
I'm a robotic cow.
You're a robotic cow. I've been saying that for a long time.
Ain't that nice? Every player gets dealt a mutation at the start of the game. They get dealt 2 mutations, and they pick one of them. That gives you a little unique player
Okay,
power
so I'm an
for this game.
insectoid pig, but I could have been a lucky pig.
Yeah, and I could have been a zombie cow, you know.
I think of myself as being a lucky pig, like, in many regards, frankly.
I think you are that as well.
Yeah.
How does the game work? You're trying to get 10 points, just
Mm-hmm.
like Catan. How do you get points? You get it by having barns on the board. That's a barn. Your barn,
on the
because
board.
you're the pigs. That's a barn over there for me. These are some barns for other people. They're worth 1 point. You might upgrade them into armories. They're bigger barns. They're worth 2 points.
2 points for these.
How else do you get points? Mostly by hurting each other with guns and nukes.
That's Yeah.
That's how the world
That's
works.
how, yeah. Pigs are gonna pig.
The way that a round works is pretty straightforward. On your turn, you're going to do 4 phases. Phase 1, you do preparation, which is that you get a little animal at every barn you have. You've got a barn here, you get a little pig.
All right.
You do that collectively. Then you move on to actions, and you can do a whole bunch of different stuff with your little herds. You can move them around the board. You can initiate combat with the humans that are on the land.
Right.
Oh, that's a 3 strength human. It would roll a whole bunch of dice and you would just roll a puny 1. But you're more likely to hurt humans on the dice because they've got little human symbols
So
as well
if
as
you hit a gun
symbols.
or a human, then that's a human gone?
Yep, versus when I'm fighting you, only guns apply.
Humans are useless
Humans
when
are
pigs are fighting cows.
When they're genetically modified insectoid cows.
Many people are saying this.
So you can shuffle these around the board to try and take more territory so that you can build more barns, so that you can get more points, so that you can fight more people. And at any point on your turn, you can spend resources to build some of the buildings.
Okay.
Barns, armories, or some of the spicy options. You can build nukes. Here they are. They cost a little smattering of resources, a plutonium, a weapon, and a brick. I've used those to make a nuke in my time.
And look, the nuke starts off as just a little handy nuke, but then on the other side, what's happened?
It's turned into a portobello mushroom.
Oh, delicious.
You actually keep these on your board here because it's important. Whoever builds the most nukes is the nukiest player. And they get an extra 1 point for having the largest arsenal.
The most nukes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's normal. What could be more natural?
You're the nukiest, luckiest pig alive.
The final thing you can do is you can build spy cards, which are like one-time bonuses. They give you like little exciting things, like blackmail, or a super serum, or more super serum, because I didn't shuffle the deck very well.
That's what happens when you don't
Always shuffle your cards.
Always shuffle the decks.
You must. Once you've done all your actions and you've moved your stuff around the board, you've done as much conflict as you want or are able,
Right.
You'll then roll these dice, bada bing, and you will gain resources if you have buildings
Right.
on those territories.
Right.
So that's why building out your barns is important.
Okay.
And then at the end of your turn, you discard down to 7 resources, as if you're being robbed every single time in Catan. Is that how the robber works in Catan?
I can't remember.
That's something to do with the number 7,
Something
doesn't
to
it?
do with just aggravating
Yeah.
your relatives.
Yeah, write in. Tell us.
I can see here you can also play as the rabbits, the chickens, or the sheep.
If I had my way, I would have been the sheeps, because I love the sheeps.
I think you've got sheep energy. I
Thanks.
think I can imagine you
That's
being a
very
sheep
kind.
in another life.
I think you've got pig energy.
Oh, big
Brutal.
old pig.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's owning it. He's owning it.
Yeah, I love this.
First to get 10 points is the winner. You get points by building your stuff or by doing big fights. Every
Okay.
fight just gets you a point, basically.
All right.
And you can't just go back and forth fighting people forever, because wherever you create fights, you create turmoil. You can't fight there again because there's a little bit of bad stuff
okay.
happening in the region.
So
it's a little bit restrained.
Right, so it's not just full out war.
No, or it's full out war, but like managed full out war.
All right,
Tempered war.
tempered war.
That's farm's race.
Farm's race.